Today on Quality Homemade Wines, we're going to do some racking. We have talked about racking on the website in print, but since I had some racking of some Pinot Noir to do, I thought I would walk you through the process. Racking is simply taking the clear liquid that is on the top and separating it from the sludge that's on the bottom. Now, part of the process of racking is siphoning off. Now that's not something that you probably do a lot of anymore, except that if the price of gasoline keeps going in, I think siphoning might come back into vogue. I'm just playing with you, I'm just kidding. So what you're going to need in terms of equipment is a 3/8 inch hose about 6 feet long, a clean carboy, the bottle that you're going to be racking out of, and you're going to need something to fill it with when you get done. I have a bottle of Pinot Noir that I bought at the store. What happens is when you rack off the clear liquid and you leave the sludge in the bottom, it ends up that there's a little bit of headroom left at the top of the carboy that you're going to have to fill with the same kind of wine, either a wine that you've made or a wine that you buy at the store. So the first thing we're going to do is go over to the sink and we're going to sanitize both the carboy and the plastic tube. So come on over this way. So the first thing that we're going to do, I've filled up a gallon jug, a gallon of warm water. We're going to take some one step and we're going to put it in the gallon, and then we're going to dissolve it, and that's simply a matter of shaking it up a little bit, and it dissolves fairly quickly. And we're going to take part of it and put it into the carboy. Now the carboy has been cleaned pretty well, but what we're going to do is we're going to do kind of a final sanitization before we do the racking. So I put maybe a quart in. I'm just going to take it, shake it up, dump it down the sink, and then I'm going to rinse it out. Okay? Something that you can do whatever facilities you've got. One step is a product you really don't have to rinse, but I always do. Okay, now that carboy, the little 3-gallon carboy, should be sanitized. Next thing we're going to do is sanitize our hose. And I simply go like this. Start the process of siphoning. Siphon a bunch of water through. Make sure that the end is sanitized. And you can do this whatever method you choose. Okay, then I run a little bit of clean, clear water through it till it comes out the end, and we're ready to go. Okay, that's sanitizing your carboy and your plastic hose. Now we're heading back over that way. The one thing that we need to know is that when fermentation is happening, CO2 is being created by the yeast converting sugar into alcohol. And the byproduct of that, of course, is alcohol and CO2. The CO2 keeps the carboy agitated. Once the fermentation process stops, what will happen is you will get a clearing of the liquid, and sedimentation, or the lees, will appear on the bottom. And so in the process of clarifying this wine, we're going to be racking it probably 4 times. This is the second racking for this Pinot Noir. So it's simply a process. Now some people use a racking wand. I happen to like this method better, but you use whatever you choose. So you stick the pipe down in, and what we're going to do is, I can see the pipe right here on the side because it's white. I bring it down to within about an inch above the sediment, take a sucking motion on the pipe, put it into the carboy, and the siphoning begins. And you'll see the liquid starting to go down. I can see that I'm about 1 inch to 1.5 inches above the sediment. Okay, we're about halfway down on the carboy. We've got about this far to go. It'll only take about 30 seconds to a minute. Okay, we've got about another 2 inches to go. You can see the little white end of this wand, and it's just above the sediment layer. As we start to get toward the bottom, I begin to very, very gently tip up the carboy. And what will happen is in the back side of the carboy, you will see the sediment appear, and you'll have this reservoir of clear, clean liquid. The idea is to keep that reservoir ahead of that sediment, and the sediment will start getting into your liquid just a little bit. We're getting closer, and you tip it very gently, not to mix any of it. Okay, and the key is to try to get as much clear liquid as you can, but not risk getting any of the sediment into the tube. Now we're just about there. We are within just a couple of seconds. It's a judgment call here. We're getting close, and I can see the back side of that little reservoir. It's starting to get a little cloudy, and ready, set, that's enough. And you can see that there's a little bit of clear liquid above the sediment, but I don't want to risk getting that into our carboy, okay? Okay, we take our carboy that should be very clear liquid now, and you can see that we've got about this much room of air because we now have that much sediment. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to fill up the rest of the carboy with what I purchased at the store, and that gets rid of our headroom, and it gets rid of the oxygen that can, basically denigrate your wine. It begins to oxidize it if there's too much oxygen. So what we do is we take the store-bought Pinot Noir, and we just gently empty it into our carboy. And we want to bring it right up to about here. I don't know whether we're going to have much left over. Okay. You can see there's about an inch, which I'll share with my wife. Recork it, and the very first thing you have to do once you're finished is to get your clear liquid capped, and because there's no fermentation happening, I can put a cork in here. This cork doesn't seem to be fitting very well, so I may put a firm lock and seal it. But you need to, at this point, take your carboy over to the sink with the one step, clean out the lees or the sediment in the bottom, and rinse it thoroughly and put it away sanitized. And that's basically what the process of racking is about. I will probably wait another month or so, and I might see a little tiny bit of sediment on the bottom. Right now I can see, in this light, I can see completely through this, and it's nice and clear, but I'll probably rack it one more time before I'm ready to bottle it. So that was racking today on Quality Homemade Wines.